Charlotte de Witte has become one of the most influential figures in modern techno music, where she's headlining big festivals and club scenes worldwide. She's known for her dark, hypnotic and high energy acid techno sound. In this video I'll be breaking down all the steps on how to make a track in style similar to Charlotte de Witte, but it's also important to know that for most of her tracks she works with a co-producer called Dave Robertson, also known as Reset Robot. So he produces with and for her, so he plays a really important role in the sound of Charlotte de Witte as well. All the sounds that I'm using in this video come from our latest modern techno producer pack Radiant. So if you're looking for fresh techno samples, presets, project files with vocals and more, then use the link in the description or click the link over here, which goes to theproducerschool.com, and on there you can check out the pack yourself and really level up your techno productions. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and with that being said, let's get straight into this. First things first, let's start by selecting the right BPM for this techno track. Most recent Charlotte de Witte tracks are around 135 plus BPM, so I'm going to start with 138, which is a pretty good and fast tempo to start with. Let's first lay down some drums to get a groove going. For this, I'll be using a kick rumble loop from our pack Radiant, which sounds like this. If you want to find out how to make a techno rumble kick like this, then check out one of our previous videos, because there I go really into detail on how to make a typical techno rumble kick bass line like this one. But for this video I'm just using this loop because it already sounds really good. I want to process this loop a little bit, so I'm gonna put it into a mixer channel with Control or Command plus L, and I want to remove a little bit of the really high end. Something like that. And I'm gonna apply a little bit of distortion with Sound Toys Decapitator to make it sound a little bit more industrial. Let's lower down the wet level, something like this. Sounds good. And let's lower the volume of it in the mixer as well, so the rest of the track also has some room to work with. About -6 dB should be fine. Let's go back to the channel rack and work on a simple hi-hat pattern. For this I'm using a sequencer, and I'm just gonna draw in the notes like this on this closed head sound from our Radiant pack. Let's go into the piano roll, maybe tweak the velocities a little bit so it sounds a little bit less robotic, a little bit more drive like this. It's enough, I think. And then copy this over a few times with a loop. Then on every offbeat we're gonna add an open hat like this. It's a sample as well from our Radiant pack. Gonna shorten it a little bit more, or we can also do that with the decay over here. And then later we can automate it to add more energy. Let's add a little bit of reverb on this open hat. Just a really short decay time. Maybe some EQ. Let's put this underneath the kick drum. Let's add some percussion and texture loops, also from our Radiant pack, like this one. Gives a little bit more texture to the drums. Adds a bit of stereo information as well. And this percussion loop over here. And something that you can hear in a lot of Charlotte de Witte tracks or techno tracks in general are ambience or industrial ambience layer underneath everything, which gives that really typical warehousey techno vibe. For that I'll be dragging in these two ambient samples from our Radiant pack. This is just like white noise. Let's try to blend it in properly. You should barely hear it, so not too loud in volume like that, but it should definitely add something. So when you turn it off, it feels that like there's something missing. Let's do the same for this other atmosphere. That's great. Let's put this right here. Let's also add this ride loop over here, a typical techno ride loop. Let's pitch it down maybe 2 semitones. Better, and then check out the volume. And then at the end of the 4th bar, I'm gonna add this percussion sound. It's really cool. Put it right here. For some variation, but first let's put some reverb on it to make it sound more in the background, a bit more spacey. Lower down the volume. Alright, now that the drums are ready, let's start working on the synths. For the lead sound of this track, I'm going to use a vocal lead which sounds like this. It's this plugin from Arturia called Augmenting Voices, which has a lot of these kind of vocal and choir sounds in it. And this vocal lead instantly gives me that Charlotte de Witte feel, because in a lot of her tracks she uses these kind of abstract vocals or choirs to really set an hypnotic mood for the track. So this preset will fit perfectly on this Charlotte de Witte style track. I'm gonna be playing a melody. Let's put it in a piano roll in a new pattern. And this will be the melody that will be repeating throughout the track. Let's make these notes a little bit longer. Something like that. And just copy this a few times. Put that on top of everything. Maybe a bit shorter. Now let's put this in a mixer channel with a little bit of decapitator to kind of distort it a bit more. Makes it a bit more crunchy. Then EQ to remove out some unnecessary low end. Then a delay to make it more spacey. Just a very simple ping pong delay. And a bit of reverb. And then a kickstart for a bit of side chaining. Not that much. Now I'm going to add another layer of these augmented voices in a new pattern. I'm using a different preset this time. It's called Data Voices, one of the stock presets of this plugin. And this one is more sustained. So I'll be creating a more sustained melody basically on the root note of the track. Something like this. Put this in the piano roll. And let's change the velocity of this higher note a little bit lower. Something like that. Put it in there. Sounds a little bit too sustained right now, and that's because I will be adding a trance gate on top of this choir sound. It's a technique that Charlotte de Witte also likes to use in tracks like Age of Love. You can hear this classic trance gate effect, which is really hot right now to do in dance music. I'm using Groovebeat for this with a preset called Trance Gate 1. Very typical trance pattern. Maybe a little bit of reverb after it. Should work. And a little bit of EQ. And some side chaining with Kickstart 2. Blends really well together with the other like vocal melody. Makes it even more trippy and spacey. Now let's add some more synth accents. For that I'll be using 2 sounds in Serum. First one is called Bass Intimate. And this is sweeping bass line, nice for fills. And then the other one is this kind of acid, really hard lead. Let's start with this one. I think this one should be playing on like every first hit. F sharp 3. I think that works. And then the other one maybe be playing right before it. And here longer. I think that first sweeping bass sound needs a little bit of decapitator and EQ. Decapitator to like really crush it more. And then in EQ to just roll off almost everything of the low end. So we only are left with the low mids. Lower down the volume. Maybe some reverb. Make it even more spacey. Works well. This track wouldn't be a Charlotte de Witte style track if it didn't have an acid sound in it. So let's add an acid sound with an instance of Serum. It's a preset called Acid OG from our Radiant pack. And let's create a nice pattern with it. We're on F sharp. Let's keep it really simple. Something like this could already work. Maybe make this one longer. Like that. And then it has macro, which is the cutoff. And with this you can really get it. Acid progression, which can later automate. First, let's put it into a mixer channel and let's add an EQ to remove the low frequencies. Maybe a bit of OTT for some multiband compression. Just a little bit. And some reverb for a little bit of room. And a kickstart for some sidechaining. Nice to play around with. Then the final thing I'm going to add is this vocal sample, which is this one. And I'm gonna chop it up so we create a very atmospheric and hypnotic vocal. It's gonna use these two parts. Something like that. Let's copy this a few times. That's really choppy right now. But I'm gonna be applying some effects to it. So let's add a delay to really space it out. Already a lot better. And some reverb. Sounds great. Now let's just quickly create a really simple arrangement just to get an idea. I'm not gonna create a full arrangement out of this, but just like a drop arrangement. Let's do something like this. And then a very simple build-up maybe, just to get an idea of how the drop like can hit. And then like an uplifter. And then let's create an automation for the acid sound, for the cutoff. Like that. So the acid is actually like moving. And that's it for this Charlotte de Witte style track. Here is the final result. hope you learned some new things after watching this video. Let us know in the comments what techno artists we should do next, or what techno techniques or whatever in techno you want to see. Let us know in the comments and we will try to cover that in next videos. Make sure to check out our pack Radiant, which has all the sounds that I used in this video. And for now, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.